Welcome to Fathers Who Bother, a podcast for men who are as dad as we want to be. My next guest is one of the hardest working men in hip hop, a good friend of mine, an MC, Torae Carr. We chopped it up about everything from his potty training adventures to teaching his daughter how to drive, finding common ground with her through their Family Matters podcast, and he reveals to me how his life was a little bit like that CW sitcom drama, whichever it was, The Game. Ha! You don't believe me? Keep listening. Check it out. What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Jerry Barrow, and I am your host of Fathers Who Bother, for men who are as dad as they want to be. Today, my guest is a good friend of mine, a great MC. We go way back to God knows when, 2008. I call him the hardest working man in hip hop, and that is no exaggeration. The man got 10 jobs. He's an MC. He's a host for the radio. He's an interviewer. He's a Recording Academy chapter vice president. Clap it up for that man. Scotch Porter model. And of course, just all around great dude. Welcome, Torae, to Fathers Who Bother.
Jerry, thank you so much for having me. That was an elaborate, illustrious, just introduction. I thought somebody else was on. I thought I was in the wrong room. I said, wait a minute, who's this guy?
No, sir. Man, I've been, when I came up with this idea, you were definitely one of the first people that I thought about. And just because organically in the conversations we've had over the years, your children were always part of the convo. Not even forcing it. Like I was looking at our interview for Watch Loud back in 2016, right before, the breaks was coming out and Tidal was coming out. And I remember you were sitting in your living room and you just looked nervous. And I was like, what's up? He's like, my daughter just went out ice skating with her friends and I'm just watching the clock.
I was stressed. Super stressed.
Super stressed. So what happened? Your daughter Tay,
yes,
was out. This was like 4 years ago. Went out ice skating, and why were you nervous?
Because she was outside. What you mean? That's yo. I swear to you, if you were not there, I would have you took so much pressure off because you just gave me something else to focus on. Think about, I had to be engaged in the conversation and whatnot. So, you just kind of gave me relief, a few hours of relief because I was stressed. That was the first time my daughter had really ventured out on her own. She was going to take the subway. She was going to be in the city with her friends. What's outside? People that's not me. So it was just it was definitely a stressful time.
Oh, that was one of the first independent outings.
That was her first go at this thing for Dolo.
Ooh, wow. Yeah, I remember the first time I let my son go to the store by himself and I was stressed, and that was only 2 blocks away.
Yeah, so imagine.
Do you remember the first time you let her go to the store by herself?
I think she might have did the trip to the ice skate. I think she might have did the ice skate trip before she went to the store.
Wow.
No. Yeah, I do remember the first time she went out to the store by herself. Again, it was stressful, just, how it is, man, as a dad, when you got kids and you just know what's outside in the world and your kids are innocent and excited and naive and just so many things. And as much as you do your best to prepare them for the real world, there's so many variables once you close the door on the other side. And so, all we can do as parents, as fathers, is try to prepare our kids as best possible. And ultimately leave it up to them to make the best decisions. Just not having that control. I mean, this is somebody who's been with me for her whole entire life. You know what I'm saying? So as she starts to make her ventures out into the world, you just worry, man. You just worry about your kids, bro.
Does she know how to drive yet?
We're driving. So what happened was we started driving, I made not the full move, but I got a spot down in Atlanta. And so down here, it's just a whole different life, a whole different lifestyle. And so we started driving. And I said, you know what? I'm going to be one of those dads. I learned how to drive from the driving school. I'm not going to be that dad. We got cars. You got father. I'm going to teach you how to drive.
Right.
And she's a pretty solid student, listener, learner. And so we've been driving, but then she went off to college. She went to New York. And when she dipped, that was like the end of our driving lessons. So since COVID has happened and we all kind of back staying put, I figured it's a good time to pick it back up. Because her theory was like, well, listen, once I go back to New York, I'm not really going to need to drive or know how to drive. So she kind of put it on the back burner. And I was like, it's still something that you would like to know how to do, have a license, get it out the way. And then you'll have the convenience of always being able to drive if necessary. But she think between Uber, Lyft, and me, she ain't got to worry about that.
Yo, I'm teaching my son, he's 17, how to drive now. Both me and my wife are giving him lessons. We had signed up for driver's ed, but of course COVID shut that all the way down. But he starts college in September and it's local, and we'd rather him drive to class than have to take the Long Island Railroad like 2 hours each way practically.
Right.
So we're trying to push. And I tell you, sitting in that car with him at the wheel, my nerves is bad, son. My nerves is bad.
Yo, even if you're not a nervous wreck, as soon as they pull off, as soon as that indicator stop ticking in the road, oh man, it's different, beloved. It is different.
Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, he's getting better. He's definitely getting better. He's improved. His confidence is getting better. But just being in a car, it's almost like being in a car with no driver. You
Wait,
can't control. No, because imagine sitting in the passenger seat and the car just starts moving. That's what it feels like when my kid is driving.
No, there's a human being sitting there. This is not Knight Rider though. Like it's not kid. It's your kid.
Man, when we're on the highway and he's drifting, I'm like, keep your lanes.
Right.
Oh my God, I'd be nervous, but he's getting better. So
I think my technique and my style is to just like you can't panic. You can't panic. You can't move. You can't make any sudden moves, any jarring reaction. Like you gotta just be cool. You stay cool. They stay cool. Oh, you drifting a little bit. Oh, I'll be like, yo, look through your mirrors. How you look? How you looking? How you looking in between those lines? Like I remember, man, I pulled over and I was like, all right, you got it from here. And we had driven about 30 miles out from the crib. Now I'm in the country, so. It's just long stretches of road. I was like, yo, what's on you? She's like, me? I was like, yeah, do it. And, she drove for 25, 30 minutes straight. And it was like nerve wracking, but, like you got to do it. At some point, you got to just jump into it full on in. So I had to let it happen.
Oh, man. So take me back to the moment when you first found out you were going, because Tay's your firstborn.
Yeah. That's my young OG.
Yes. Tell me about when you first found out you were having your first kid, having Tay.
Man, I was like, wow. It was something that I know this is like not the norm, or I don't want to assume that, but I know that for a lot of people that I know growing up, it wasn't the norm to plan a pregnancy. And Tayler wasn't planned per se, but the conversation was had that if Kimberly got pregnant, that we would keep it. You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't like we was practicing safe anyway. You know what I'm saying? But it was like, pull out, pull out rhythm method. But if that don't work, we gotta do it. Yeah, the club. It was casualties all in the club. Casualties everywhere. Bodies for days. No, yeah. So we had that conversation, and it was like, if you do get pregnant, then like it's time for me to man up. We getting older. We were not getting older at all, by the way. But when you like 23, 24, you think you like grown as hell. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And you're not.
Yep. You're right.
So we had the conversation, and then I remember, I didn't even get the call. Like she just told, because I didn't have a cell phone at that point. I didn't have a phone. I was running around. I had a 2-way. That was it. And I remember I came home. We were cohabitating. We had a crib together at that time, and she was like, "Yo," she showed me the joint. I was like, "Yo, what's this?" She was like, "Yeah, nah. You see that right there? You see that line right there with that line? You know what those lines mean? I lined you up."
But the baby barber,
right?
Line you up
right up. Sharper blades.
Oh my God. And your mom called that, right? Like when y'all moved in, she was like, y'all
Everybody
gonna be
did. They disrespectful. They all did. It's like, oh, yo, it was so crazy, and we played right into it. So we had got our first crib together, and we had a year lease. On the first go round, and they was like, oh, that by that first year, y'all gonna have a baby in that first. It was like, nah, no, we not, man. We know what we're doing. We ain't stupid. Here we go, month 10, baby on their way. So
like clockwork,
like clockwork.
like to the minute.
Yo, bro, I'm talking about rabid activities was going on in there. Dog.
Oh
Like,
my
it was
God.
crazy.
That first apartment life
Yeah,
is special.
that first one out the gate, like you just me right here. I bet do whatever.
Because did you do college to go on away college thing or no? That
Nah, I
wasn't.
didn't know. I mean, man, it was I don't have a lot of regrets, and I won't say this is a regret, but it's just one of those things that in my mind, I wanted to. Like, I was such a big fan of Cosby Show and A Different World and just that whole college campus life. Like, my life was totally different from that. Like, I was from the super, super hood and we ain't had no bread. And of course, I had like tons of hurdles and adversities to overcome, family stuff, just, a lot of the stuff that you hear in people's raps. And so, but I would watch it on TV and I loved Dwayne Wade. You know what I'm saying? I thought Dwayne Wade was super cool. He was a nerd, you know what I'm saying? But he was like a cool nerd. And
Right.
I wasn't, well, I guess I was kind of a cool nerd as well, but I could fight, you know what I'm saying? So I was
Right.
like the cool nerd thug. But I always just admired that and I always thought it was so cool and I wanted it, but I just didn't understand the route that it took to get there. And it wasn't my path. Also in the back of my mind, it was like, by the time I'm college age, I'm going to be a rap star. So it's not going to be necessary.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't go up to college. I didn't have any of that. I was in the crib.
That's usually where folks get that first.
Yeah,
in-house.
see, so I didn't have that. I didn't have that in-house action. Oof. I had to wait till I got my own spiz.
Good times. But then the baby comes, and how did that change things for you?
Drastically. Drastically. So I was doing music. I've been doing music since I was a kid, basically. I was doing music and I was like pursuing that lifelong dream. And everything came to a screeching halt, honestly. For me, it was like I always try to do the right thing. And sometimes the right thing is what people think is best for you, but not necessarily what's best for you yourself. So for me, it was like, well, I can't really run around and chase this rap dream right now because I have a kid on the way. So what does my life look like? Go get a job or go get another job. Go back to school, try to figure out how you're going to provide for this little human that's dependent on you that you're bringing into the world. So that's what I did for like the next maybe 4 years. I was like not active in music at all.
What were you doing? How were you paying the bills?
I worked for the Department of Education. I was a para. Well, I started as a sub-para professional. I became a full-time paraprofessional. And then I went back to school. And the cool thing about working for the Department of Education is they pay for your college. So I went back to school and I started taking classes. And I was like, oh, I guess I'm just going to be a teacher. And honestly, for me, teaching wasn't the worst thing in the world. Like I always enjoyed that aspect of what I did in my life and that time of my life. And I always enjoyed the way I was able to relate to the students. A lot of the quote unquote bad kids, the problem kids, they was from my neighborhood or from my walk of life, or they just reminded me of somebody that I knew. And all of these people who couldn't connect with them, it was so easy for me to connect with them. For one, I was young. For two, we spoke the same language. We came from the same place. So I got it. Like, I know you might have had to step over your drunk uncle when you was leaving, coming to school this morning. So I'm not going to be on your ass. I know your moms might have been out all night binging on crack. So, you know what I'm saying? Like I just had a different level of understanding again, because we came from the same place and in some of the same circumstances. Whereas there was a big disconnect with a lot of the other educators in the building. And so I said all that to say they would give me all the bad kids because I knew what to do with them. And so like it was rewarding. It was rewarding for me and it was fun and it was exciting. It just wasn't my first love. It might have been my second, but it wasn't my first. And at some point, you got to get back to your first love. You got to give it a go or you'll forever be unfulfilled.
Right. So to that point, what was how did your upbringing inform your parenting style? Like when you had Tay, did you feel like you were prepared, or did you feel like I'm just starting from scratch?
I don't know if you're ever prepared. Like I hear people say that all the time. I'm not ready. I don't have enough money. I don't have enough this. I don't have enough that. I'm like, yo, fam, you just got to do it. I'm not saying like if you on the street, don't have a kid. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm-hmm.
if you pretty much got it together, like there's no manual, there's no rule book, there's no roadmap, there's not a blueprint. You can try some shit and you can try some other things and it may or may not necessarily work. So it's just like when you feel it in your heart, you should go for it. Me, I didn't have too much of a blueprint to how to do it. Me and my mom always had a great relationship. She struggled with her things in the past that she dealt with that she overcame. My dad wasn't in my life on a regular basis. You know what I'm saying? Like he was never absent as far as like I couldn't get to him, but he ain't come around and I ain't go around, and so that was that.
Got you. Got. Were there any other father figures or men in your family that you could go to? Uncles.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, I say like the most important years of my life, my little brother's father raised me. You know what I'm saying? My little brother came along when I was 9. He was born, so we 9 years apart. But his dad, was with my mom through all of my formative years. You know what I'm saying? So like he raised me. He was the one I saw come in with the groceries. He was the one who woke up every morning, went to work. He was the guy who, he had his shortcomings as well, but he was the guy who was there. And as I got older, I realized that responsibility that he took on, as a man to raise somebody else's kid. Like, I always take
Mm,
my hat off to him, man. He was the guy who was there on a daily basis for me.
mm. That's what's up. So
Shout to
you
Greg. Shout to Greg.
shout out to Greg. So you went to teaching, but when did you decide that you know what, I got to follow my dream. I have my baby, but the teaching thing isn't. I'm a musician. I gotta go. I gotta go hard for that.
I tried it because it was the one profession where you got weekends off, you got holidays off, you got summers off. So I really thought that would allow for enough time for me to still pursue my dream while still being able to provide, and hip hop and music in general is one of those things, man. If you're not fully engulfed in it, like you can't just dip your toe in the pool. You gotta
Mm,
drown in that motherfucker. So it took me some years. It took me some years. Like every summer, I would tell my colleague, "Yo, I'm not coming back in September. This is it." Every Christmas break, I would try to run around. I was trying to move demos, and I get off at 3 o'clock, and I'd be in the city by 4, and I was doing all types of stuff, man. I remember I would listen to Hot 97 and hear Angie Martinez, and she'd be like, "Yep, Jay-Z's gonna be on tomorrow." And I was like, boom, if I get out of here at 2:45, I can get to Hot, you know what I'm saying? By X, like I was doing that. I was running around. And then one day I was like, yo, Tor, you gotta be in it or out. What you gonna do? And that was that. Well, that's not 100% true. What I did was, because I was pursuing music and I think everybody in the building knew, and I was so beloved by everybody in the building, I went to the administration and I expressed to them that I wanted to try my hand. And
mm.
so what I was able to do was get a year sabbatical. They gave
Okay.
me a year sabbatical and, not paid, but they was like, listen, you got a year. If you want to go for it, go for it. And that was like super dope. They was like, you can come back anytime you want and your job will be here waiting for you. And we love you and we wish you good luck. And that was really all I needed, And that first year that I decided to go for it was 2006 and or five around. Yeah, it was 2006. But Click and Get It Done came out, and I had went on the road with Ace, and a bunch of stuff had happened in that year to let me know that I was on the right track, and I never looked back.
How old was Tay at this time?
So Tay was, I remember when I decided to go back into music, it was right when Tay was able to start kindergarten. So she was like 4 going into 5, 4 or 5-ish. Once she got potty trained, I remember like, I was like, yo, you got to get potty trained because I got to get back outside. And one day I sat down and I thugged it. And I thugged it. And I was like, yo, you're not getting up. You got to go in the potty. You know what I'm saying? And she had her breakthrough. She had her
Oh my
breakthrough, and
goodness.
that was it. Once I was able to get her in there, then that gave me the freedom of having my day. So from there on,
Yo, the not having to lug the diapers in the diaper bag is so
it's
freeing.
a different type of relief right there, B.
Oh my gosh.
That's
The
like
only
that's
thing
first day out of jail love right there.
the only thing you have to contend with then is when you're out and about, when you have to go to the bathroom.
Right.
This was the thing I had with my daughter, was picking which bathroom to go to, because
Difficult.
it's like, okay, I can take her into the men's room with me and freak out the dudes, or I can bring my big ass into the ladies' room, and that's not going to work. So it was always
How's that not? How has that not been addressed in our lifetime, Jerry?
well.
Why is there not just a bathroom for parents with kids?
I think that's partially been addressed with the gender neutral bathrooms. I think that helps, because then everybody can go in that one bathroom by yourself, But
and depending on who you are and your beliefs, that's a different thing.
Yeah, that's true.
It should just be one bathroom, and it's like for parents with children of a certain age, and the men can go in there, and the women can go in there, the boys can go in there, girls can go in there, and that be that.
Yeah, it's a tough one, because I remember going to Penn Station one time, and no one wants to go in those bathrooms.
I don't want to use that bathroom as a grown ass man.
Right, but she had to go. We were waiting for the Long Island Railroad, and she had to go, and I was like, dude, it's like, y'all gonna have to just deal, because it's either this or she's gonna pee on herself. But I was happy when she got a little bit older that I could just send her into the ladies' room by herself, and I could just nod to some of the women and say, hey, my daughter's going in there. Right. Can you just make sure she comes out the next
down.
But yeah, those early years, that's stressful.
Super.
So you got the worlds to kind of collide a little bit on your music and your children on Tayler Made. You made a song for her from your first project, correct?
Yes, sir.
It comes so easy to me, and it's easy to see. Everybody know what you meaning to me. You the reason moms is in school to get a degree, and while I'm out spitting over these beats, this is how we gon' eat. But for you, I take it out to the street, do what I must, but I'm always gon' keep always, no matter
what. So when did you record that?
I don't know. When the Daily Conversation came out in...
That was 2008?
2008. So, yeah, I guess we did the recording in 2008, maybe late 2007, 2008. And I remember, shout out to my man, Emilio Rojas. Mm-hmm. I remember he had the setup. He could record from his crib. And that was dope, because I didn't have to take Tayler to the studio. He lived in Brooklyn. So we was able to go over there and record. And then... it just made it a lot easier for me, because I wanted to include her on the record. Like, she's on there, like, with her little ad-libs or what have you. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to include her on the record, but, like, I didn't know how I was going to get her to the studio. So that was dope. Shout out to Emilio. Yeah, but we did that record I guess we did it in 2008. So Tayler was six going on 7.
Mm-hmm. And what made you want to do that song? And how does she, obviously she's heard it. What does she think of that song now, looking back?
I mean, she don't think anything I do is cool, so. Nah, she laughs. She laughs at it. She's just like, it's just like, it's dope to be able to capture that time, like, she's in a video and she's on the record. And so no matter how old she gets, or grown she gets, or cool she gets, she's there. I can always take her back to that time. As far as me deciding to do the record, it just came to me, like most of my songs, I don't sit down. I know some people like put together like this detail. I want to talk about A, B, C, D. The music speaks to me, and I let my experiences take me to places. And obviously, I always want to come from a real place. And that was like what was the most real to me at the time, just Tayler. The beat. When I got the beat from Eric G, I was like, this is it.
Shout out Eric G, man.
That's my guy, Jeezy. I said, yo, this is it. And we made it happen.
You mentioned she was in the Call on Me video too. And I always felt that one, because that was me in the Camry up until last year, picking up my kids. So I was like, damn,
yeah,
he's real with this one right now. What was it like coaching her in that video, getting her to, hit her marks and
It's
all that
funny.
stuff.
She was such a natural then. Like she shies away from all of that stuff now, but
Right.
it was not. I didn't have to outside of saying, "Hey, do this again." She got it. She got it, and a lot of it was just, it wasn't scripted to the point where it's like, "Yo, you got to hit your cue here." It was like, how you naturally gonna react. Everything about it was super real. Like that was my beat up Camry at the time. And I would have to stop what I was doing to go scoop her from school and all of that. So all of it was super real. It came from a real place. So not much had to be rehearsed or reenacted. It was just stand there and be natural. And like I said, it's so funny because now she's not beat for any of that. On camera, famous stuff, that's not her vibe.
Really? What's her vibe now?
She low key. She's low key, she's into what she's into, music and fashion and all that. But she's just there's a running joke in the house, like, Tayler, when you gonna drop your tape, I'm like, yo, let's make a mixtape. And she's like, yo, fam, I'm not dropping a tape. Relax.
But you two did have a podcast together. Is that what was it, Family Matters?
Yeah, the Family Matters podcast, which is, man, that was my most favorite thing that I've done in the last few years. And you know what happened? It came to a screeching halt. No, Tayler was moving into her senior year of high school, and she really wanted to focus on it. And, it was a couple things that she wanted to do. Obviously college is around the corner, and she was trying to just hit a couple of marks. And I had to respect that. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't be mad at it. She bucked on me, but for the greater good. She's like, yo, I want to really knock this year out, because when we moved from New York to Georgia when she was in her 11th year, which is the year that they look at. So she knew she had to do some things, just because just that whole transition and all of that, it wasn't ideal for her. So she was like, well, I need to do X, Y, and Z in my senior year so that I can still make it to the schools that I want to get to. And so I couldn't be mad at that. I had already uprooted her. I couldn't force her to do the podcast too.
But you guys seem like you had some fun. Talk to me about being able to have those conversations with your teenagers, because me and my son are cool, but on the level of being able to do a podcast together, I don't know, maybe about video games, but it would be pulling teeth. You got a good run with her with your podcast. Talk to me about that a little bit.
Well, I don't want to talk about it in the past tense because it's not over. We gotta bring it back somehow, some way.
Of course.
But it was so easy. It was natural for us because that's just our relationship. Obviously there's the daddy-daughter dynamic, but we have a super tight relationship. She's a great person, not just my kid, but she's a great person. And we would have these conversations, that's really how the podcast came about. We would have these same conversations while we were in the house or while I was driving her to school or picking her up. For the most part, I took Tayler to school. I would say 90% of her academic career was me taking her to school and picking her up. So we would have these conversations often, listening to music, talking about life, what's happening in the world, how she feels about something in comparison to how I feel about the same exact thing, me coming from, an adult standpoint, her coming from her point of view. So it was like, yo, we need to, even that was a running joke. It turned into, it was save it for the pod. We talk about something. And then I'd be like, no, don't even tell me, save it for the pod. That was going to be the official name of our podcast, but it was already taken. So again, just our actual natural relationship birthed that whole idea.
What's one of your favorite episodes of the pod with her? One of the topics that you really enjoyed talking about?
I would always I had a method to my madness. We would start with music and hot topics. And then somehow I would try to convert the conversation from the people that we were speaking about to our own life, so I was trying to slip in mad shit that I wanted to know about, what I'm saying? I think we did 9 or 10 episodes. I really enjoyed them all. I don't know if I have an actual favorite without kind of referring back to them and seeing what was what. I think all of them were great. Some of them she really gave it up because Taylor's, again, she's a little more reserved than I am. When it comes to talking about things that are not Taylor centric, she can do that. But, for her to kind of open up, especially when she knows the world is listening, That took a little bit, but there was one episode she really got busy. I'm trying to pull it up real quick. Let's see.
Okay.
Here we go. Family Matters Podcast. See all episodes. Oh, they're not even all saved in my phone. That's crazy.
Because you cracked the matrix code being able to talk music with a teenager.
Again, man, we did that. We did that so much. Like, she put me on to so much music. Like, that's why we had a segment on the podcast called Put Me On. I would play something from my era. She played something from her era. And we try to guess, and she played stuff around the house all the time, and she'd be like, "Yo, Dad, this is such and such, this is such and such," and then she put me on the spot when it was time for the podcast. And a lot of the joints I know, a lot I didn't, and the same with her. I'll be playing classic LL or classic Naughty or Aretha or something like that, and I would test her knowledge on it. So it was just a good time. I think it was a dope concept. I think it was super important. Like, the feedback that we would get from the people was so crazy, because they would say how difficult it was to have conversations. And they was like, yo, this could be my icebreaker, because I never knew how to talk about such and such with my kid, but we can listen to this together, So right. I thought not only was it fun and exciting for me, but I think it was helpful for so many people. So
absolutely. I definitely got a kick out of it. And I was like, the ideas. So you have a son,
yep.
Nick. When did Nick enter the picture?
Nick is 12, so he entered the picture 12 years ago. No, Nick. So the whole shout to New York, Nick. That's my guy. Kimberly, who's my wife now, Taylor's mom. Her and I went through a breakup, a lengthy breakup, about 2.5 years, and it was right around the time that I started to get my footing in as a rapper. And so I was running around. I was in the streets. I was having fun, yada, yada, yada. And there comes Nick,
Okay.
And, like, man, that's my dude. Like, him, his mom and I, we have a great relationship. Like, she's cool. And it's like, I don't have no regrets about it or anything like that. It's not ideal. You know what I'm saying? Like, as far as living circumstance, he doesn't live with me, shit like that. So that's not ideal, but he and I have a dope relationship, and that's my guy, man. That's sunshine. That's my guy.
I see he's a Golden State Warriors fan. How did you let that happen?
Nah, because he came up in the Curry era, right? And it's funny. Right. He's such a kid. Like, he's such a 12-year-old kid that he mad wishy-washy. He don't even like Golden State no more.
Oh, see, now they ain't hot no more.
Yeah, he kind of moved off of them before they lost their luster. Coming up, his uncle, I don't know. He just never wanted to be a Knicks fan. He'd rather be a Lakers fan. I was a Knicks fan. His uncle was a Lakers fan, and he sided with his uncle's team, and he kind of became a Lakers guy. And I couldn't be mad at him, because he just respected Kobe so much. Rest in peace to Kobe. He loved Kobe so much, like, he respected Kobe so much. I wasn't mad at it, and we didn't really have, we never had a squad in his whole life. So he was not a Knicks fan. He will come with me to Knicks games, and he will wear Knicks apparel though, so I can't be super mad at him.
That's more than even I do at this point.
Oh no, at this point it's a wrap.
Oh my God! So, do Tay and Nick? What's their relationship like? Do they get along?
They do. They both, like, in their own world, but when he's here, which is like holidays and summers and all of that, they spend time together. They text, I pay for both of their phones, so they text. Like, the other day was Father's Day, and Taylor was asking me some stuff. She's like, yo, the Nick, and I was like, nah, why? She's like, nah, I've been talking to that boy all day, and then, so that always makes my heart smile, just to know that they have a relationship outside of my involvement or me putting them together. They talk to one another, so it's a typical older sister, little brother vibe. But they cool, man. They cool kids. They rock with each other.
Do you have any advice for brothers who are managing that kind of blended family scenario? Because it's definitely more common. How do you manage that and keep everybody happy?
Well, don't try to do that first and foremost.
Okay.
If there was, I mean, there's a million and one things I would change about the way I handled it off the rip. But that's in the past, and that can't be, that can't be fixed. All I could do is do what I'm doing moving forward. And for me, man, it's about the kids. The kids is happy. The kids are the ones who are the innocent bystanders, if you will, in all of it. And so, as long as you do your best for them, you show them they love, and for my biggest thing was to make sure that they had a relationship. I was like, yo, if I drop dead today or tomorrow, are y'all gonna rock or y'all gonna act like the other don't exist? So that was always my biggest, the biggest thing for me was to make sure that they was able to kick it and know each other and get to know each other. So, I feel like I've done that. I've done my job. And I think as they get older, obviously they'll bond more and they'll hang out more. But the seeds have been planted, and, they know that they brother and sister, and they know that they gotta kick it regardless. And so they do that.
Did you feel more comfortable or prepared with Nick than you did with Tay? Or was it the same thing starting from scratch?
It happened so everything, that whole experience was way different than my first go round. My first go round was like every doctor's visit, everything. I'm there. With Nick, it was 100% different. I wasn't around for all of it. But by my own fault, of course, I wasn't around for all of it. I wasn't super involved with it. It wasn't until he was born that I really got in the groove. Up until then, I was just kind of processing it because it had just threw my whole like world out of sync, if you will. I was like, whoa,
Right.
So
you were Lawrence.
it threw my whole shit out of sync. So
I try to tell people that scenario is more real than they think. People who watch Insecure are like, "Ah, man, that don't seem realistic." Yo, that's mad realistic. Trust me. That whole scenario.
It gets. What was crazy? My parallel was The Game. You remember the show The Game?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Derwin was with he was with Mel, but Janae was pregnant, and it was like. I was living through that while it was happening on TV every week. I was like, "Oh my God, this is crazy!"
Wow,
that was my vibe. That was my life.
Life imitates art so much, B.
Actually,
but we make it happen. We make it. We get our lessons and do what we have to do. 2020 has been a really rough year. How are you managing as a dad right now?
Just being open and honest with the kids. I think that's just like my go-to way of parenting. I try not to sugarcoat too much because again, now that they're 12 and 18 respectively, so it's a lot easier to have those conversations because they see for themselves. They have phones, they have friends, they have computers, and so they see what's happening in the world. So for me, it's just to really be honest with them and prepare them for the times when I'm not here, the times when they out. It's a lot going on. Tayler had just she only put her big toe in the pool of college, and then she had to come right back home. She was in college for a few weeks, really, and then she had to come back home. Nicholas, he enjoys the, remote learning. But also he wants to be back in school with his friends, kind of like, I don't want to go to school, but I want to go to school. You know what I'm saying? So
right.
It's like for him, even with the next school year, they're already trying to put a plan in place. And so we had to have that conversation. Is it safe for you to go back out? Do you need to be out there? Just always being real, letting them know that they have options. One thing I tell my kids all the time is like, life, the most important thing to have in life are options. How you get these options come in a bunch of different ways. Education, money, opportunity. But ultimately, it's about options. Do you want to live in Brooklyn or Queens? Do you want to have a 1-bedroom or 7-bedroom? Do you want to, it's all about options. Do you have the options? The more options that you have, the more options that you're able to afford yourself, the better your life will be because you can do what you want and not what you have to. And so for that, just letting them know like what the options are, what's really going on out here. that we are in this fight for equality, that they're going to be part of the next generation that takes the baton and does some amazing things in this country, but also to be safe out there, to be smart out there. Nicholas, as a young black man, I'll tell him all the time. I'm like, yo, you already got strikes. You was born with strikes. That's not your fault. You was born black in America and a male. So all we can do is make sure that we strategically move so that you do not wind up in a jail cell or a casket, and that's just the real of the conversations that we have to have.
Absolutely. Those, especially now with the driving, having the if you're pulled over conversation. That's what freaks me out more than him being on the road is the inevitable interaction with the police. Because I feel like driving just it raises your chances of interacting with the police exponentially. Because I really didn't have too much interaction with the cops until I started driving, and I started driving late in life. I got my first car at 30.
Oh, word.
And then, what I'm saying? It wasn't until I moved out to Queens.
You really dodged the whole... they was running up on us at 14, 15. Running the building, checking our pockets, throwing us against the wall. Crazy. Crazy.
Yeah, so yeah, I can understand. It's been cramped up in here some days, but luckily we have a house with some space. We try to give each other space, but some days we just get on each other's nerves for no reason. It's like, okay, let's all go outside. Let's go get some air. Let's get some ice cream or something.
Ice cream fixes everything.
Yeah, because it's going on 3 months now, and it's getting hot. It's no fun, but I don't see an end in sight. Unfortunately, I was being optimistic, thinking, oh yeah, we'll probably by July things will calm down, and it doesn't like shit is going to change at all.
I mean, it depends on who you are, because some people's like, yo, it's summer, I'm outside, it's what. And us responsible people are staying in, and I've always been that guy, you know what I mean? I try to do the right thing for the right reasons, while everybody else is just reckless abandon. I'm like, yo, everybody chill. The numbers is spiking. Cases, people still dying. Just because it's not on the front of the newspaper doesn't mean it's any less serious or severe. But people is just out here moving around.
I know. We need to get back to when we can hopefully get back to going out to basketball games. So I was going through your feed and saw that you had made the ultimate sacrifice back in 2017. Said you took Tay to a concert at MSG and missed NBA Finals Game 1.
Yo, did I?
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta scroll through my own timeline. It's coming back to me. It's coming back to me. Yes, it's coming back.
I forget the name of the group. It wasn't a group I was familiar with. It was, I don't know if it was a K-pop band or
Madison Square. Maybe it was the 1975 or who was those guys? Or was it 5 Seconds of Summer?
I think it was the 1975. That's a group?
Yeah.
Called the 1975?
Yeah, the 1975. It's crazy. Like I said, Taylor always put me up on music. Yo, that concert was jamming, bro.
Word?
That concert was jamming. Them kids is all right.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because this was Golden State versus the Warriors. Wow. You missed that Game 1 of that series.
Wait, who, the Warriors versus who?
Warriors versus Cleveland.
Oh man, yeah, that was a doozy. Yo, this is Fathers Who Bother, Jerry. Come on, man. Let's talk about it.
That's why I brought it up.
Yo, I think I just buried that so deep down. I don't know why you would resurface that, yo. I buried that. Man, listen, my kids is the most important thing to me in this world. I would miss any event and any occasion just to, do something for them or with them. That's important, man. Those are the memories. Because honestly, I remember going to concerts with Tayler way more than I remember what game I missed. You know what I'm saying? So that's what's real.
That's what's up. Oh my goodness. So what's any plans for the summer? Oh, happy belated Father's Day. How was your Father's Day? It
was super cool. I actually hung out with some of the homies for the first time. This is probably my first big social gathering since March, when I leave. March 17th was the last time I was in well, I flew from New York. Taylor and I flew from New York. I scooped her from college, and we flew back here on the 17th. And I went to Sky Zoo's Father's Day bash. He does one every year. I missed the first two. So I said, I'm in town and I should be quarantined, but we will be safe. So I hung out with Sky and Shy, Stimuli, and a couple other dads. And, Taylor and Kim were there. His kids, his family was there. So it was just cool. It was a cool family event. And then Taylor surprised me with something super cool. She superimposed me or photoshopped me on a XXL cover because we, I don't know, a couple weeks ago we were having a conversation because of that Vogue challenge, and we were doing covers and whatever. And somehow it ended up on us getting into me not ever getting a XXL cover, and I was super salty about it. And I was like, yo, this guy is out of here, and this is supposed to be my year. And they said that I was in all of this. And we were just having a conversation about it, and it was funny. And then just on Father's Day, she has this white frame behind her back, and she hands it to me, and it's me on the 09 XXL cover. And it was so thoughtful, and it was so well done. It was fire. Like that part was fire, but it was just so thoughtful, and it was like, man, for me, I have material things, you know what I'm saying? Like sneakers, hats, jewelry, whatever. Like I got all that. That's not gonna do nothing for me. I got home, I got cars, I got a beautiful family. It's like those things like that. You know what I'm saying? Like those are the things that make my heart smile. So that was a fire gift. Shout out to Tay.
Shout out to Tay for real. That was a dope ass Father's Day gift.
I sent the picture to Daytwan. I was like, yo, Day, look at this.
I know he was loving that. Did you post it on the gram? I gotta go check that out.
Nah, I didn't post it. I was like, I don't want to it's too much to explain to people. So I didn't.
Right.
Just for the push your T.
Yeah, you gotta send that to me though. That's dope. Shout out to Tay. Yo, Tor, this has been such a great conversation, man. And I really appreciate you chopping it up with me. To talk about your family and your experiences as a father. And, I knew my instincts were on point, and this is why I've started this podcast, is people like you, brothers like you, that, are really, really good examples of fathers and who know how to balance the art and their family life. And I really appreciate you, man.
Nah, Jay, thank you so much, man, for including me in this. This is probably one of the first conversations or a few conversations that I had where we don't talk about any, you know what I mean? What you got going on, what I'm doing right now. I hate those conversations. Yo,
yeah.
People hit me, yo, Tor, can we do this interview? I'm like, about what, man? I've been in the house since March 18th. What is there to talk about? I go live every day. You don't see me on my live? That's what I'm doing. There's your interview.
The live at 5, for real.
Live at 5, man. But this is great. Jay, anytime you call me, man, it's all love. It's a brotherhood. It's a friendship. It's all of that, man. So I'm excited to listen to the first two. I don't know how I end up being number 3, but it's cool though. No,
I shouldn't tell you that you're technically number 4.
I'm about to say, and I probably got number 3 is probably somebody in the game. Wild disrespect, yo.
No.
Mello the number 4 pick? All right, I'm gonna go Mello on y'all. No, I appreciate you for doing this for sure, for the fathers, for the brothers that need it, and thank you for including me. Real talk, bro. I appreciate it super much.
Absolutely. And spread the word. Go back and listen to the first 2 live now with Fonte and Sky Zoo. Next week we got our brother Mickey Fax on deck.
Hey.
And then I told you you're in good company, so don't worry about it.
Nah, this great company, guys that I'm friends with and fans of, not only musically, but just overall who they are as people, man. So shout out to all of them. But big shout out to you, Jerry. Thank you so much.
For sure, man. Have a good night, brother.
You too, bro. Be blessed.